Be a good listener. Chapter 3. Please go to page number 5. Now what do you mean by be a good listener? All of us like to talk. Who listens? So it is also important to listen properly. What is the other person saying? And then you can answer. Once you have listened carefully, you will understand what is the question. Based on that, you will be able to answer. Somebody is telling you their problem, so you have to listen to them patiently, understand what is their problem. So now let us see how we can be a good listener. It is important to be a good listener when you are learning a language. When you are learning एक नई भाषा सीख रहे हो, तो you must listen carefully. उसके उच्चार कैसे है? And then you can repeat properly. Or when you're dealing with other people. Are you a good listener? You can find out with the help of the following questions. 1. When you are listening to someone, do you look at the person or you turn your face away or your head away or toy with something else? Now, here toy with means play. Means play with. Suppose you are talking to me, okay, and I am playing with my dupatta and not listening to you. I am not looking at you. When you are talking, I should nod and say, okay, oh, how sad. So that you know, when I am giving you response, you know I am listening to you. But do you turn your face away? That person is talking, you are not even listening. Good listeners look at the speaker. So now what is the first point? First one, good listeners look at the speaker. Okay, whenever someone is speaking to you, look at them. Second question, do you pay attention to what the speaker is saying? Are you paying attention or just do you hear something? So, second good point of a good listener is, good listeners pay close attention to the speaker. So, second point will be, good listeners pay close attention to the speaker. Third, do you make any special efforts? Efforts means extra prayatna karte ho to understand the speaker. Now sometimes somebody will be speaking in other language. So when you say, sorry, I didn't understand. Now you're speaking in Kannada, Kannada berodilla. That means I don't understand Kannada. So, do you make sign language? When we went to some foreign countries like China and all, nobody could understand what we are speaking or what we couldn't understand what they are speaking. So, when we used to say 5, they used to say no, 6, we used to say no. So, then on the calculator they used to show how much, then we used to look, no, not so much. So, that is how we used to talk with the shopkeeper. We used to take the trouble to try to explain to them, no, it is too expensive, and they used to try to take the trouble. So when people are talking to you, do you try to take the effort to try to understand them? So here are some of the things that will help if you understand the speaker better. If you hear some new or unfamiliar words, unfamiliar means which are new, which you don't know, try to guess their meaning from the context. Context means from what is being said, संदर्भ के हिसाब से उस नए शब्द को आप जानने की कोशिश करो. लगभग you can understand, not exactly, but you can try to guess. Second, you can try to guess what the speaker will say next. Already in your mind you can think that when I say this, then that person will, suppose if that person is asking you, are you married? And if I say yes, I already know in my mind that person will ask, how many children do you have? Try to keep listening even when you feel that you do not understand the speaker. Or even when you disagree with the speaker, suppose you don't agree. Doesn't matter, the speaker has his opinion, you have your opinion. Wait for the speaker to finish what he is saying. Then you can get your doubts clarified by asking polite questions. Clarified means cleared. That means if you have any doubts, sorry मैं नहीं समझ पाई, आप ये कहना चाहते हैं, तो you can always ask them what they wanted to say. Then do not feel shy or afraid to ask questions if you don't understand what is being said. Even your teacher, if she is speaking very fast, you can ask the teacher, ma'am, please repeat it again. Put your questions to the speaker politely, but ask politely. Sometimes it helps to note down important words or points, even as you listen. When the teacher is explaining, you can write down, like when I'm giving the meanings. I'm giving you the meanings on the board, but I can't see, everyone is not writing down the meanings. They feel, हाँ, संदर्भ के हिसाब से समझ लिया. But afterwards, when it is exam time, by that time you will forget. For now you understood. So, jot down or write down small points which you need. Lastly, it also helps to keep thinking about what you heard. Think about what you heard. You may grasp the meaning of a difficult word or phrase later on. Here, grasp, normally grasp means to hold, but here it means to understand. So sometimes you might feel कि उस वक्त मुझे नहीं समझा, but later on you might realize, हाँ, it means this. From the context, or later on you might suddenly remember the word. So you may grasp the meaning of a difficult word or a phrase later on. Now see here, the person is telling that little girl, please bring me the vase that has pink roses. It's on the dining table. Vase means the bed of roses. It also means a kind of pot. Or does it mean a frock? So you immediately know that it means a pot. How do you know that? Suppose you feel, नहीं मुझे नहीं मालूम था vase का meaning क्या है. But because he said vase of roses which is on the dining table. तो dining table पे जो पड़ा हुआ है, तो वहाँ पे क्या है? There is a vase of roses. So immediately you understand. But you listened carefully. हाँ, क्या कहा? क्या लाने को बोला? Most of the time we are not listening. So first thing you have to see, good listeners will look at the speaker. Second point that we saw, good listeners pay close attention to the speaker. Now the third point that you can write is that good listeners take effort to understand the speaker. You have to take the trouble to try to understand. Even if our language is different, sometimes with our hand gestures, with our movements, with our expressions, we can convey what we want to say. Doesn't matter if the language is not understood. Now write the characteristics of a good listener. So we saw all these characteristics of a good listener. Second, listen carefully and guess how the sentence would end. Now here they have not given the ending. आपको अंदाज लगाना है कि कौन सा शब्द यहाँ पे fit होगा. That means from the sentence you can understand. You can write one or two different type of words, but what will fit suitably. First, there was a crow. He was very thirsty. He wanted to drink some water. Naturally, if somebody is thirsty, what will the crow want to drink? Lemonade. Will he want to drink some beer? No. Or some tea? Some coffee. So naturally, if one is thirsty, he wants to drink some water. Second sentence. There were dark clouds in the sky. Soon it began to rain. Now when there are dark clouds, what is the logical sequence afterwards? That it will rain. Third one. This step is broken. Please be careful. That means you are telling someone this step is broken, you might fall down. So be careful. Fourth, when the students saw the question paper, they were nervous. Okay, normally when you see question paper, such a lengthy paper, so you start getting nervous. Nervous. When the teacher read the answer papers, she was amused. Sometimes I feel very amused because the kind of questions we ask and the kind of answers that we get. Now one day we had told a student to write about your mother tongue. Mother tongue means Matrubhasha. And the student had written, my mother's tongue is pink, my mother's tongue is long, she uses her tongue to scold my father and to nag my father. So it was very funny. So we were very amused. Sometimes we are happy to see the paper because children have written very nicely. Sometimes when they have horrible handwriting, then I'm quite upset to see the papers. So you can write whichever word you want. What is the reaction of the teacher when she sees the paper? Now listen carefully and write all the words correctly. I'm giving you a dictation. Okay? Listen carefully. Now be careful. When I'm telling you, you have to listen carefully, write down, and you'll also have to put the punctuation. Punctuation I will not be telling you. But you have to understand whether to put full stop or comma, open inverted. Let us see if you can do it. You are right. Write it in the right hand corner. Second sentence. I need 2 books. Me too. I gave one to my sister. Third. He ate the whole apple, but there were holes in the apple. Fourth. Do you know the tale of the mouse who had 7 tails? Please tell it to us. Fifth, I knew you wanted new shoes. Now, what is the problem with this? Even if you hear right, you know that there are some words which are known as homophones. Homophones are words which have different spelling, different meaning, but the sound is exactly the same. So while I was dictating, you must have written down. You can check with your textbook if your answers were correct. Now, what is the mistake that you could have made? In the first sentence, write and write. You are right. Of course, both of them R-I-G-H-T. That means when you say you're right, tum sahi ho. Write it in the right hand corner. So now first right is this word, which means it is right. The other right is the opposite of left. So you know that this right is opposite of wrong. And there is one more word which sounds the same, and that is W-R-I-T-E. Got it? Now, if you look at the second sentence, I need 2 books, me too. Now, here you have T-W-O, which is a number. Then, I need one too. Here, too means also. Or, if we had, I gave it to my sister, then we have all 3 words are pronounced in the same way. We say too. In the third sentence, you have, he ate the whole apple, and you have the other word, whole. Of course, there were holes, so it was plural, so it sounds different. So we came to know. And in the same sentence, we also had one word, ate. So if you wanted, I could have given you, he ate 8 apples. So then it would be E-I-G-H-T, also pronounced as 8. Next, do you know the tale of the mouse who had 7 tails? Tail, T-A-L-E, and T-A-I-L, both sound the same. And in the last one, I knew you wanted new shoes. New, K-N-E-W and N-E-W. Both of them sound exactly the same. In the activities part, they have given you sit quietly for some time. Is it possible? Students can sit quietly? No. All the time you're making noise. But try. Just sit quietly. Close your eyes and listen carefully to all the sounds that you hear around you. Can you guess what the sounds are? Or who or what is making them? Sometimes when we listen carefully, we can still recognize whose voice it is. That means, is it the teacher's voice? It is your friend's voice? You can hear the sound of the birds, the bees, the sound of the car passing by. So close your eyes and listen carefully. Note down what you heard. List 5 of the sounds which you like and which you don't like. When you don't like a sound, we call it noise. Now suppose it's music and you're playing some music. You like the sound. So you say, I can listen to the beautiful music. But if your father listens to the same music that you're listening to, he'll say, what a terrible noise, what a terrible din. So what sound you think is noise, and somebody else may think that it is very nice, pleasant sound. So it can be different. Now let us look at the next, that is the 5th one, group work. Form groups and discuss how one can be a good reader. We already saw how to be a good listener here, right? We had to look at the speaker, we had to pay close attention to what that speaker is saying, and we had to take effort to try to understand. It can be that he is speaking in a different language, but you can try to understand. Now, here, how to be a good reader. All of you read your lesson and say, unseen passage nahi samjha. We didn't understand. Many big words are there. First of all, always keep your dictionary with you. If you feel the passage is difficult, you read it, you didn't understand 2 or 3 words. What you can do is, you can find out the meanings. Next, read it twice if you want. Read it 3 times. Read it a little slowly. No need to hurry through the whole passage. Try to understand from the context. Some of the words you may not understand. Don't concentrate on those big words which are difficult. Those, of course, you can find out, but suppose you don't have a dictionary. Now in the exam, you don't have a dictionary with you. You get unseen passages. Read it carefully, slowly, understand it, and then try to solve your question answers. You will be able to. Now here, they have given, use the points in the above passage in your discussion and write down the points that show how to make a good reader. So, let us write down the points how to make a good reader. Okay, here we have the first point is already given to you, no need to write. Good readers try to guess the meaning of new or unfamiliar words from the context. यानी संदर्भ के हिसाब से आप ट्राई करते हो कि इसका मतलब क्या होगा, लगभग अंदाज लगाते हो, you try to guess. Now, the second point that we write, read all the words and lines carefully. Next point that you can write, concentrate on what you are reading. Third point, consult a good dictionary to look up the difficult words. And last point, try to guess the meaning from the context. That is, if you don't have your dictionary at that time. So we saw how you can be a good listener and a good reader. There are 4 things which are important: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Have confidence, speak in English with each other. Don't use other languages. At home we use, but in school try to speak in English. Even if you make mistakes, doesn't matter. Listen carefully. Listen to English news. Try to listen to English TV serials. Watch things in English. Writing. Once you have finished writing, your writing skills can be given to your teacher to correct it. And reading. Try to read lots and lots of storybooks. Your reading skills will improve. You will know more words, more vocabulary, and you will come out tops in English.